U.S. Embassy in Monrovia announces temporary suspension of non-immigrant and immigrant visa application services beginning August 16. Government allows 1.8 million US dollars to begin rehabilitations of several military barriers within the country.
An amount of $1.8 million has been set aside to start the process of the decongestion.
And away from home, the leader of Kenya Court, who allegedly encouraged more than 400 followers to starve themselves to death, has pleaded not guilty. Also coming up is a commentary titled Preventing Future Shortage of Petroleum Products in Liberia. We've got the details of these interesting developments, sports, the weather update, the news in French or in Bella tonight. But first, Great Star and the news bulletin.
President Joseph Boakai has challenged the judicial system to rise to nobler standards in the dispensation of justice for all. President Boakai believes the equitable dispensation of justice within the realm of the rule of law is the surest way to have a noble judicial system. He noted when the foundation of the governance process is strengthened, it enabled citizens have confidence in the rule of law. The Liberian leader spoke Monday when he dedicated a state-of-the-art judicial complex in Riverside County. Government has apportioned 1.8 million United States dollars to begin the rehabilitation of several military barracks in the country. The Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, Brigadier General Davison Follett, said the money was approved recently to address the decongestion and accommodation challenges confronting the Army. Brigadier General Follett said the amount will be used to rehabilitate military barracks in Saniquale, Nimba County, Zweju, Grangida County, Banga, Bon County, and Kakata, Margibi County. The Army Chief of Staff also disclosed plans are underway for the recruitment of additional personnel of the Armed Forces of Liberia early next year. Brigadier General Follett said while that is being planned, several personnel will shortly be promoted to various ranks to boost the morals of the Army. He spoke Monday in an Elbc maiden edition of Armed Forces Today program on Elbc. The U.S. Embassy in Monrovia has announced temporary suspension of all non-immigrant and immigrant visa application services beginning August 16. According to a release, the suspension followed the transitioning of the embassy to a new visa service provider system. The U.S. Embassy said the suspension will remain in effect until the new website for scheduling visa interviews is ready to move. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy in Monrovia said all previously scheduled visa appointments remain valid. Chief Justice Sianen Yo has craved for increased budgetary allocation to support the country's justice system. Justice Yo said for decades, both the executive and the legislature continue to establish magisterial courts without allocating funds for magistrates and other court staff.
The legislature and the executive that have a full responsibility of establishing magisterial courts and magisterial districts respectively continue to establish magisterial courts within their respective counties and without putting funds in the budget for the stipendiary magistrate for the building, in fact, of the court complex first and foremost.
According to her, it is the constitutional responsibilities of both branches of government to allocate funding aimed at fast-tracking dispensation of justice. Meanwhile, Justice Yo has disclosed a 5-year strategic development plan seeking to align with the arrest agenda. She was speaking Monday at the official opening ceremony of the judicial complex in Cestus, Riverside County. At the same time, Chief Justice Sianen Yo has described the 14th Judicial Complex as a testament to the Supreme Court's vision of expanding judicial infrastructures across the country. She emphasized that the move is aimed at enhancing access to justice and improving judicial service delivery for all citizens found within the country's border. According to her, the establishment of the 14th Judicial Complex in Riverside County is aimed at bringing dignity to the judicial branch of government government and at the same time curtail some long-standing challenges in the access of justice. She maintained that the judiciary remains committed to providing justice to all Liberians and upholding the rule of law as inscribed in the Constitution. Meanwhile, the Chief Justice has charged magistrates at the courts to continue to uphold the culture of justice and accountability. Meanwhile, Rivers County Superintendent Baron Zanwe has called on Liberians to uphold the rule of law to move the country forward. Mr. Zanwe said that is why the people of Rivers County will ensure the judicial complex is properly maintained because it is where the citizens will go to seek justice. He thanked government through the judicial branch for the construction of the complex, which comprises specialized courts, first in the history of the county. Mr. Zanwe, however, appealed for the construction of additional courts to enable other districts seek justice. The Rivers County Superintendent spoke Monday at the dedication of the judicial complex in the county. The judge of Criminal Court D, Mamieta Salif, has cautioned lawyers and prosecutors against changing land dispute case into armed robbery and rape case to desist or be reprimanded seriously. Judge Salif said when land issue lacks adequate legal institution and customary remedy, it becomes a commodity, easily subject to manipulation and abuse. She said it is disheartening to know that when people are manipulating the system to turn land dispute into armed robbery or rape, some of the unprofessional lawyer will assist to keep an opposing party in jail under the pretense of being an armed robber or rapist. The Criminal Court D judge stressed that to correct the situation and the way forward is for a lawyer to stop manipulating the judicial system and put forth national interest to protect the peace and stability of the country. She said land is an important economic asset which is closely linked to community identity, history, and culture, and noted that land has been a cardinal and potential source of conflict. Judge Mamita Japatia Salif made the remarks Monday when she delivered her charge on the topic transformation of land disputes into armed robbery or rape as a strategy to keep one opponent in jail. Criminal courts A, B, C, D, and E opened for its August term at Temple of Justice. Orange Liberia Extended Communications and Digital Supervisor Malu Enjo Yeka says the entity remains steadfast in serving the country with quality communication services. Madam Yeka said modalities are currently being worked out to strengthen the company's existing network and communication services throughout the country. She made the statement Monday in Monrovia at the launch of a new system by Orange Liberia to boost the company's operations. Also speaking, Orange Foundation Senior Manager Omar Brown Witherspoon said the entity is impacting citizens in different sectors including education, healthcare, and digital inclusion. Madam Brown Witherspoon disclosed more than 2,000 women have been streamed in Liberia for breast and cervical cancer by Orange Foundation as part of the healthcare initiative. A local organization, Shop Home Care Service, is craving for government support. Speaking at a news conference Monday, the executive director of the organization, Director Rizana Shak, said support from government will enable it to empower vulnerable people living with disability. Madam Shak stated the home care service remains committed to fostering economic empowerment for the less fortunate people in the country. She said the program is also aimed at providing microloans to more than 500 women and established to expand small businesses. The executive, through the Finance Ministry, has refuted claims of alterations in the 2024 national budget by some members of the legislature. The ministry said, though there is no specific reference to the part of the budget alleged to have been altered, House Speaker Councillor Fanati Kofa has asked the Senate to jointly investigate the allegation. But in an Elbc interview Monday, Acting Finance Minister Anthony Myers said the allegation was only brought to the ministry's attention through social media posts from some lawmakers.
Before you get to the public, you should be able to say that, well, we cited the Ministry of Finance or we made inquiries with the Ministry of Finance for information on X, Y, and Z issues, and this was their response.
Minister Myers urged those making some claim, including members of the legislature, to state the specific areas in the budget that were altered for prompt verification. Meanwhile, the acting finance minister has described as successful ongoing nationwide consultations on the 5-year National Development Plan. Information Minister Jeremy Pia has reaffirmed government's position to fully implement the General Auditing Commission and Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission reports. Minister Pia's statement comes in the wake of recent arrest warrants issued some former government officials for allegedly stealing millions of United States dollars from government. In an Elbc interview Monday, he said government will not compromise the case and pledged to press for the adjudication to serve as a deterrent.
If you want to hold people accountable, that's an event that you can just have an instant creation environment to say, let there be light and there was light. It's a process. And if you don't give the process a chance and start to make conclusions about what you think the intent is, it means you yourself not serious about the country.
The information minister wants Liberians embrace government stance against alleged corrupt public officials and stop criticizing the initiative. Meanwhile, Minister Pia has reassured of government's commitment to holding public officials accountable for acts that tend to undermine the growth and development of Liberia. Foreign Minister Sarah Beslo-Yanti is heading high-level delegation of diplomatic missions on a field trip to Kakata, Margibi County. The delegation will visit the former rice production field in Bong Mines, the Kakata Central Prison, Kakata Administrative Building, and the Kakata Cassava Farm. The field trip will also conclude a visit to the Booker Washington Institute, Castle Farm, and Soke Town in Kakata, Margibi County. The trip is aimed at inspecting projects implemented by government and development partners in the area. Assistant Mines and Energy Minister for Mineral Resource Development and Conservation Carlos Edison has pledged to curb nationwide illegal use of dredging in mining activities. Minister Edison said such action is detrimental to the environment, local communities, and the economy of the country. He noted the ministry is determined to take decisive action to prevent and clamp down on unscrupulous miners. Minister Edison emphasized the need for interagency collaboration to combat illegal mining activities in the country. The Assistant Mines and Energy Minister made the pledge over the weekend in Grand Creek County, and the chairperson of the Department of Nursing at the Nimba County University, Lydia Walker, has disclosed the elevation of the department to a BSc degree level. Madam Walker said the elevation of the nursing department followed approval by the National Commission on Higher Education. She commended stakeholders in the education and health sectors for their support towards worthy initiative. The Nimba University chairperson of the Department of Nursing also urged citizens of Nimba and other neighboring counties to take advantage of the program. Madam Walker, however, named inadequate classrooms, medical books, and laboratory equipment, among others, as some challenges confronting the college.
The news bulletin with Grace Tao. She makes a return later on with the weather update in our international development. This is Newsline, 1 full hour of all the major news trending in Liberia and the rest of the world. One of the big stories tonight, President Joseph Boakai challenged judicial actors to uphold impartial dispensations of justice. Well, it was not until last week when some members of the legislature took to social media to raise claims that the 2024 national budget was altered. There is no specific reference to the part of the budget it is alleged to have been altered, but House Speaker Councillor Funanti Kofa has asked the Senate to jointly investigate the allegation. Well, the executive through the Ministry of Finance has, for the very first time, reacted to the allegation in an interview on the Super Morning Show. Vavle Kamara began by asking Acting Finance Minister Anthony Myers if the allegation has claimed the ministry's attention.
Yeah, definitely it has claimed our attention.